Hi, my name is Bree Myers, and this video is going to be a walkthrough of my paper titled Monstrous Desire, Sexuality, Power, and Control in Dracula and Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. I'll walk through my arguments, my thesis, and my overall learning experience while writing the paper, and I have it over here, so I guess I'll just jump right in. I chose this topic because I was really interested in how different texts define what makes someone monstrous, especially in concern to women. When I read Dracula, I noticed characters like Lucy and the vampire women are seen as threatening when they become more sexually assertive. And then I realized, in comparison to Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl by Harry Jacobs, sexuality is treated very differently there. And instead of being powerful or threatening, it's something that's controlled and used against these women. And that contrast made me want to explore how these different texts connect sexuality to power. My main argument is that both texts portray female sexuality as something powerful, but in very different ways. And in Bram Stoker's Dracula, the female sexuality is seen as dangerous and unnatural, especially when women step outside of traditional roles. Characters like Lucy are punished for becoming more assertive, and the vampire women are portrayed as both attractive but also threatening. And this shows fear of women having that control over their own desire. Then, on the other hand, in Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, Harriet Jacobs shows a much more realistic situation where women don't actually have control over their sexuality. Through her experiences with characters like Dr. Flint, Jacobs shows how enslaved women are treated as property and their bodies are controlled by others. Even when she makes the choices that she makes, like her relationship with Mr. Sands, those choices are shaped by survival rather than freedom. So I say choices, but it's that kind of like kind of battle you're fighting with morality in survival a little bit. So it's a choice you make, but is it really? It wouldn't be the ideal choice that you would want to make. So my thesis is that while Dracula frames sexually assertive women as monstrous and threatening, Jacobs exposes how systems like slavery turn women's sexuality into something exploited and controlled. Both of these texts show that the real issue isn't female sexuality itself, it's who has the power to control it. One of the biggest things I learned while writing this paper is how much context matters, especially when you're working with texts that are so vastly different and you're trying to kind of connect them. At first, they seemed really different, of course. One is gothic fiction and one is a slave narrative. And that's when I put them together and I realized that they're both dealing with similar fears about control and autonomy. I got to learn how important it is to go beyond just describing what happens in the text and really think about why it matters and what it says about society overall. Both of these literary works offer such vastly different narratives on that, but in the same way, again, they connect this idea that I'm trying to express about sexuality and control. I would say that overall, writing this paper helped me better understand ideas about gender and power and how they shape the way that women are represented, and how what is labeled as monstrous often reflects deeper cultural anxieties rather than reality. And on that note, again, the experience of writing with these two vastly different works and connecting them in this way, on a topic that I'm super passionate about talking about, female sexuality and representation in different works. It was a good writing experience, and these texts are both really strong in that, and I also really just appreciated looking at Dracula in this way and not discussing other topics that I may have covered. I kind of felt like I did a deep dive in that, and that was a super fun way to kind of do that. So yeah, that was my experience writing the paper, and that's kind of the main gist of it. And I hope you read it and you enjoy it. And thank you for watching this video.